My boss said I wasn't leadership material because I didn't network enough. I nodded, thanked him for the feedback, and walked out. What he didn't know was that I'd been documenting every illegal shortcut he'd been taking for 8 months. I work in supply chain management for a mid-sized manufacturing company. Nothing glamorous, just making sure parts get where they need to go, paperwork matches reality, and vendors stay compliant. My boss Derek had been there for 15 years. He knew everyone, golfed with the executives, and had this way of making you feel small without ever raising his voice. I noticed something was off about 8 months ago when I had to cover for him during his 2-week vacation to Costa Rica. He left me his login credentials and told me to keep things moving. That's when I saw the discrepancies. Safety certifications that were supposedly current but had actually expired months ago. Quality inspection reports with dates that didn't match our actual inspection schedule. Vendor payments that were slightly higher than the invoices justified, with the difference vanishing into consulting fees that nobody could explain. At first I thought maybe it was just Derek being disorganized. The guy had 15 years of institutional knowledge. Maybe he'd just gotten sloppy. But the more I looked, the more deliberate it seemed. These weren't mistakes. They were patterns. I started keeping copies. Every suspicious email, every altered document, every payment record that didn't quite add up. I forwarded them to my personal email, downloaded attachments, took screenshots. I stored everything in an encrypted folder on my laptop at home. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. Maybe nothing. Maybe I just wanted insurance in case Derek ever tried to pin his mess on me. Work continued as normal. Derek would breeze in around 10, leave by 3, and spend most of his time in closed-door meetings or on the golf course with clients. Meanwhile, the rest of us actually ran the department. I kept my head down, did my job, and watched the folder on my laptop grow thicker. Then came my annual performance review in November. Derek sat across from me in the conference room with my evaluation already filled out. He didn't even pretend to have prepared it recently. Overall satisfactory performance, he said, but there were concerns about my leadership potential. I asked what specifically I could improve. He leaned back in his chair. You don't network enough. You keep your head down, do your work, and go home. That's fine for an individual contributor, but leadership requires relationship building, playing the game. You know what I mean. I did know what he meant. It meant kissing ass, laughing at unfunny jokes, and pretending vendor kickbacks were normal business practices. I asked if there were specific examples of where my lack of networking had caused problems. He waved his hand dismissively. It's not about problems, it's about presence. Look at my nephew Tyler. He's only been here 6 months and everyone knows him. That's leadership material. Tyler, who'd just been promoted to team lead despite having 0 supply chain experience. Tyler, who spent half his day vaping in the parking lot and the other half asking the rest of us how to do basic tasks. That Tyler. I smiled, thanked Derek for the feedback, and told him I'd work on being more visible. He seemed satisfied. I walked back to my desk, finished out the day, and drove home in silence. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with a beer and my laptop. I opened the encrypted folder and looked at 8 months of evidence. Fake certifications that could get people hurt, falsified reports that violated federal regulations, financial irregularities that would make any auditor's eyes light up. I created a new email account, something generic and untraceable. Then I compiled everything into a single PDF with a timeline, a summary, and links to the original documents still sitting on the company server. I sent it to 3 places: corporate compliance, the industry regulator that oversaw our certifications, and our 3 biggest clients, the ones who'd have the most to lose if this went public. I hit send at 11:47 p.m. and went to bed. By Wednesday morning, Derek's office was empty. Not just empty like he was out for the day, empty like security had escorted him out and HR had boxed up his things. His nephew Tyler got transferred to a different department by noon. The whole floor was buzzing with rumors, but nobody knew exactly what had happened. Friday afternoon, I got called into HR. 2 people I'd never met sat across from me with serious expressions. They asked if I knew anything about the compliance investigation. I said I'd heard rumors, but I'd been focused on keeping the department running during the transition. They thanked me for my discretion. Monday morning, the VP of operations called me directly. They were offering me Derek's position, interim at first, with full authority to rebuild the department and implement new compliance protocols. I accepted, then asked if keeping my head down and actually doing my job was still considered a leadership problem.